Thank you, Mayor. Looks like Ryan left. I was going to say I appreciate him letting us come into his speaking engagements. Of course, he was out for 24. This is his first day back after 24 days of quarantine. That's what happens when you have so many kids, I guess. But in any event, getting on to the speaker today, and as you know, our speaker was supposed to speak with us about 3 or 4 weeks ago, and unfortunately he was sick at that time. He did take a COVID test. He didn't have COVID. So.
And who filled in for it?
The mayor did a great job filling in at that particular time. You know, working around the entrepreneurial ecosystem for the last 5 years, it's very apparent while we were making progress, we were not moving as fast as a number of our mid-major market competitors in the South, and as well as speaking to the rest of the country. So I think today we have a speaker that's very uniquely qualified to speak about what can be done to accelerate that movement in this particular area. And just to announce, to give a few things about Heath, if you don't know him already, he's a native of Johnson City. In 2002, he graduated with a computer engineering associate's degree at Northeast State, and just in the last month has been named the outstanding alumnus of Northeast State for 2020. Quite an honor for them. He's also a digital media major from ETSU, one of the early ones that came out of that program. He and a partner were one of the first clients at the Holston Business Development Center back in 2004, I think it was, and came out within a year of that particular program with one of their first companies. He's been involved in a lot of different companies around, started up himself. He is currently the chairman of the Inventor Center Board. He's on the board for Create Appalachia, which you may hear some more about and all. And also is, of course, the president and founder of SyncSpace, which started out as a co-working space, but now has grown into a much broader thing, which he'll tell you about. So Heath has been very much involved in entrepreneurial activity for a number of years. He's also owned a building in downtown Kingsport since 2008. That he's done well with that building in terms of living of apartments and also the SyncSpace location, and is also very much involved in what may be the next big opportunity zone project in downtown, which you'll be hearing more about hopefully in the next several weeks. I don't want to steal his thunder, but it's my pleasure to introduce Heath Guinn. You'll hear a lot about what's going on in the area. Acceleration.
Introduction, John. I have to say a special thank you for Mayor Scholl and John also, besides being great members of this group, they're also key leaders on our board at SyncSpace and do a wonderful job for us, and what we've been able to accomplish over the last 12 months, I think, is a large credit to the leadership that we've been able to do with our board. Mayor Venerable, who I don't think is here today, is also part of that board as well. As John said, I am a...
Could you turn the volume up a little bit?
Just hold it up to your mouth. Yeah, hold it up.
You can take it off. Take it off.
Yeah.
Just hold
Is that
it
better?
close.
Yeah.
Yeah, there we go. Yeah, thank you for that. I am from Johnson City. I was a student at Tri-Cities Christian, which you all know was in Bluntville. When I got a degree from both Northeast State and ETSU, and then I went on to work in Bristol for basically the only job I ever had. And then I founded my business and my partner's business, and now on 4 businesses, most of it based out of Kingsport. So I felt like there's a unique position for me, is that I've had kind of a little bit of experience in all parts of the Tri-Cities, at least in the region, which I credit to part of the strategy we put in place in SyncSpace. One of the things about my experience has been that when I was in college at ETSU, I realized very distinctly what I had to do as far as my career path, and it was basically either one, finish the degree that I had in digital media and move out of the area, most likely to Southern California. Atlanta was starting to come on, but have to be in one of those big markets where digital media employees can be most successful. Or if I wanted to stay here, and that's mainly because just that scene was not here, and still is very much in its early stages. Or if I stayed here, I needed to pursue taking the business that I had started in high school and try to grow it and build it out of this region. And that's what I chose to do, and I am appreciative of the guidance that I had at that time is to stay in this area because it allowed me to grow a business from here, work all across the country and even internationally on some projects too, but still be around the place that I love and where my family's at. And I think that's an opportunity that we have that we can offer a lot of existing people in our area, but also it's very attractive to what's happening nationally with certain trends. Of course, we don't want necessarily migration of just anything, but there's a lot of young talent that we would like to bring into the area to be part of our ecosystem as well. But when we talk about why entrepreneurship and why now, I think we got to look consistently at what has been happening in our region and where are the opportunities to perhaps help our population growth and help address some of the challenges that we face. To me, one of the key things that when I started looking into Sync Space and what we could do with entrepreneurship in our region, I thought there's two things that we are starting to do as a region to look at it. Not necessarily as a regional organization, although I think there's some traction in that space. But regionally, we started to understand that we do have some particular challenges that we're trying to address, most of them in the healthcare space. What are we trying to do there? And population growth. And the other thing is that I think there's a unique alignment underway in what I will later describe as our comparative advantages. But what makes us really special and what we're really good at, because I think that's a key opportunity for us to grow entrepreneurship and small business. So with Sync Space, we originally did start as a co-working space. We've now went to a 501c3. But during the process of the co-working space and exploring how do we best address challenges and best take advantage of the resources and assets we already have in the area, one of the key things that we needed to do, and these are kind of a quick list of achievements that Sync Space has made, is that we need to get the state more involved in Northeast Tennessee. A lot of the programming and resources and dollars that are available in Tennessee stopped in Knoxville. And John has done a great job with Excel now and bringing attention to what we had in Northeast Tennessee, but we didn't have a partnership here like most of the other parts of the state. And so one of the key things that we did right away was go to Nashville, engage them for a partnership, which has now become, Sync Space is the Northeast Tennessee partner for Launch Tennessee, which is the entrepreneurial efforts of the state. So what that really does for us is it gives us a significant amount of funding every year, as well as a connection to a network that is extremely fruitful for all the entrepreneurs involved. It also helps us keep entrepreneurs here and also plug them into things across the state without them having to leave. Sync Space was endorsed by the 2 mayors task force that happened last year, the Blue Ribbon Committees, as the entrepreneurial program that was up and standing up and the most shovel ready, I suppose is the way to say it. We also, as our funding, as we put it in place, like I said, we brought Nashville to the table from resources, but Kingsport was our first funding source. Kingsport believed in what we were doing already. They came in first, and then the Sullivan County Commission actually voted unanimously to fund us $250,000 in January. We now are working with Johnson City. In fact, I'm presenting there next week to close that agreement and also have other partners engaged from partnership and resources. We have launched the first accelerator program in the region, and I'm going to explain a little bit what that is and how we built that. But that was a key first here. We're also a key partner in the Region Ahead initiative that happened when COVID first came out. We had a lot of regional leaders come together, and Sync Space played a key role in that project. And then we have designed programs specifically to grow local and local entrepreneurs, but then also recruits from national companies as well. So here's kind of the map of Launch Tennessee map throughout the state. Prior to this year, there was no dot in our area, but we are now the proud partner of Northeast Tennessee, and you can see there's 9 other entities. Most of them are location-based, and there's a couple of research hubs. This network has been incredibly valuable to our startup community here, and it's a great resource. And I will say that the work that we're doing is also getting a lot of attention throughout the state. We have a lot of support for the way we've approached things and encouragement, and also asking for us to share what we're doing that's working so well so that it can be implemented across the state. So let's talk about what we are doing. The accelerator program we built is really designed around how do we take advantage of key areas that we think we can be successful in. A typical accelerator program works like this. Companies in the community would join the program through an application process, and then they would go through a several-week, think of it like a curriculum. And that's very common and it's very popular in larger markets. For us, that's not really our focus. One is because we're pretty distant, and this is even before COVID. But we also wanted to focus more on what companies need here, and that's really to get in the market, get working with their customers, and help grow their business. So we picked these key areas that we focus on, that we think our area is pretty significantly good at: healthcare, advanced manufacturing, and digital media. We're also focusing on education because education is an overlap of all those, and we feel really strongly about what's happening in education, especially in our area. Here's kind of a little bullet point list of what those are in the service area that we are working in. Of course, we are the Upper East Tennessee, our first development district, and then we're also have our key partners in Southwest Virginia. One of the things that I have been sharing too that I think is an exciting opportunity for us to be thinking about, because we're not, let me back up one step and say that we're not just talking about small business, because we've got Cosby. Cosby does a wonderful job with that. The region has TSBDC offices and other things that help small business. So what SyncSpace really is focused on is where are the areas for high growth that involves keeping talent here or bringing educated talent here in the technology space, medical device space, and those sort of things. One of the areas that I am actually pushing pretty hard in Nashville for is to be a more important part of the ecosystem for healthcare in Tennessee. So Nashville, as everybody knows, is really trying to become the healthcare city of the country, and to compete with Boston on that level, I suppose. But what's happened is we've seen a great interest in Nashville for headquarter relocation. The policies are driven out of there. A lot of venture capital has been formed in Nashville. West Tennessee has a really mature and successful programming in the regulatory process of medical device. So my position in Nashville and to our partners is that really what we do well in East Tennessee is we are focusing a lot on research, as a lot of you know, with our healthcare system and our universities. But also, when it comes to it, we can build it. We have, as John said, a denser population of engineers than maybe anywhere in the South outside of Huntsville. And that's something we really want to get connected with as well to help these companies as we bring them into the area. Early on too, we wanted to establish that our hypothesis about what our area could be and what could mean related to these companies. Would people send their companies here? So one of the key things that I did myself actually the first year before going to the state was I visited accelerator programs throughout the country, sharing our message, talking about what Northeast Tennessee has to offer, and asking if they would be interested in working with us as far as what we're trying to see happen. A few key partners that we have in Houston and Dallas have been really great for medical device technologies, but we also work with the Cleveland Clinic with their innovation system, how the Cleveland Clinic incubates within the hospital system and connecting that with our hospital system here. And then Cincinnati, which is one of my favorite stories, is top 3 or 4 program in the country called Centrifuge. And basically the proposition was this: you have a great mature program, you're graduating these companies, where do they go after you're done with them? We want to be that place. And they were so excited about the project that they actually sent us all of the companies that fit the criteria we're looking for, and we've now been able to establish that relationship. And as our ecosystem grows, we basically, and I say this carefully, we want to have a higher level of access for entrepreneurs. We want our entrepreneurs that are here to have access to it, but we also want to be able to recruit. And it's very promising to see the way that we've set up our programs and how it is attractive to other parts of the country. So let's talk about how we're doing. During COVID, it definitely has been an interesting year, but I feel that overall we are seeing some really great successes and a lot of involvement. Here's just kind of some quick data. We won't go through all of it, but we currently have 64 companies in our programs. We have 2 main accelerator programs going, but through partnerships with Northeast State and ETSU and others, we've got a total of 64 companies now currently in our program. One of the things I'm really excited about is the split between male and female. We have a tremendous movement happening in women leadership in our region and women entrepreneurs, and it's incredible to have as many represented in the companies that we're working with, which shows a strong sign, because if you look statistically across the nation, when you have a more diverse set of entrepreneurs, a lot of successful things follow. We do focus on the advanced manufacturing and healthcare, and you'll see the breakdown of percentage of companies, so we are right on target with the companies that we're working with. What I hope to see, and I'll show you momentarily, is what we could mean for that going forward after even we get through this COVID phase. So let me tell you about two companies that are in our program right now, and this will give you kind of a representation of what we're trying to see happen. This company, VenoStint, is a company they started in Nashville. They've been in Houston for the last couple of years in an incubator, Texas Medical Center. It's one of the largest incubators in Texas. What they do, they have created a better stent. So in dialysis, when you have to have a transfusion, you have the dialysis process, their product would be a better stent to help keep from infection and other things from forming. The reason that we are attracted to them and we thought we would be a partner for them is that their process for it is, it's a polymer process, which I think we know a little bit about polymers here in Kingsport. And also their process for the manufacturing is a 3D printing process. So that's a key area that we're focused on bringing companies in those two spaces. But not only that, they are also a cardiology device, which is actually what our healthcare system is very interested in cardiology technology. So we have an overlapping, two overlapping things that we're really strong with that standing on their own, this company may be able to find that in other parts of the nation, but because we have two of the key things that they need, we became a very attractive area to them. This company has also been through some major programs. They've been through Y Combinator, which is definitely the #1 program in the country. It's based out of San Francisco. And they just recently received a Kidney X Award, which was a Trump administration with the National Institute of Health project that was stood up for dialysis and nephrology. We're one of only 6 companies to achieve that award. And what's exciting about that is that tells us, and what it should tell us, is that we're able to attract the top talent if we think about what it is that we already have in our system here in Northeast Tennessee. So we're very excited to have them part of our project, or part of our program here, and they're very excited about being part of it as well. Another company that I want to share with you is a company called Cardian. They're actually Knoxville based. It's a young female entrepreneur. She's she's a senior at UT now, and she's just turned 18. So she's an extremely intelligent young lady. But she has created an artificial intelligence-based software that reads echocardiogram data. In other words, her software will actually predict potential health risks for people who are having particular heart problems. She's focused a lot on rural and urban markets, but also in high performance sports too. So what's interesting about her is that she's already at that age and at that stage of her company has already had her second phase with the Air Force, large grant about interesting environmental technology. She's also in discussions with Philips as a potential strategic partner for what she's doing. The reason that we wanted to focus on working with her was 2 things. One is that ETSU is strongly looking at research opportunities, and cardiology space, again, is one of the focus areas in our healthcare system here. Because of that being our focus, we were attracted to her because what she's trying to do is continue to refine and add data to her program. So we actually accelerate her through our accelerator. Instead of having her in, say, a boot camp or a class where she learns about certain parts of business, that's not important for her. What we're able to do is actually connect her directly to the 2 things she needs, and that's data and research partners. We hope that that's one of the successes that ETSU can really see after this, because it helps them with other things they're trying to achieve as well. What I like about her, beyond everything I just said, was that she was actually offered 3 programs at the same time. Ours, the Nashville-based program, and the Chattanooga-based program, and she chose us based on what we have to provide here in Northeast Tennessee. Again, to me, it's something for us to know is that we are able to compete with any area across the state and collaborate with anywhere else across the state. But that's one of the things for us to know as we build this ecosystem, that we're looking for the top talent to come to our area. So one of the things that we do best, I think, is form partnerships. The Launch Tennessee program they have 4 pillars of their strategic planning. Capital raising, commercialization, and other things. But what we really focus on at Sync Space is we focus on market engagement, which essentially means how do we take young companies, these young brilliant people, and give them an opportunity to find a customer or a partner that's already in the corporate world or in the research world here in our area, and get them working in our area. One is because we have that talent to connect them with, and 2 is we know if we can build their customer base here, we can keep them here long term. So I'm very, very proud of the agreements that we put together with partners across the region, and how they are collaborating with us and working with these young companies. So let's talk about comparative advantage, which I think is a really important thing for us to start to understand and believe in the region. Regionalism is a tough topic. It's very challenging to figure that out, especially in a sales tax-based system that we have. However, one of the things that I think is a unique opportunity for us is if we look at what makes our areas unique amongst ourselves, and then what does that look like together to the outside world. So when we think about what Kingsport really has a propensity to be very, very successful at, you got to think about advanced manufacturing, advanced materials. What we've got from RCAM and Eastman and these other partners that we have is world unique, not just in our area, but this is something that we really are on the world stage for. If you think about Johnson City, what we focus on in Johnson City with SyncSpace is we focus around healthcare technology and research at the university. That's where the healthcare system's base is, where a university is. And that allows us to do our programming there for healthcare. Now, think about the two of those combined though. You've got healthcare and advanced manufacturing. Well, that's exactly what medical device companies need, is they need expertise in both. So independently, as strong as we are, we have to compete with other parts of the country. But together, that is a really strong proposition to take to a company who is young. They're already, these guys know how to work on a shoestring budget. They are looking for partners and advantages where they can have multiple types of success. But it doesn't just stop between Kingsport and Johnson City. We also are focusing really heavily with Bristol on several things, but we're leading with a lot of the music and entertainment that is happening in Bristol as a key advantage. Not that Bristol couldn't be involved in healthcare or couldn't be involved in advanced manufacturing, because we certainly want to see put people where they can best succeed. But there's a unique opportunity for Bristol to capture that because of the brand that it brings, and that's very unique to Bristol. Greenville is the same. We're working a lot with Greenville on manufacturing, but we're really focusing on what Greenville has to offer in agriculture technology, which is a really hot topic in entrepreneurship in Tennessee, and then also in logistics. Again, each one of these things on their own are important and impressive, but when you put that together, Northeast Tennessee looks really good to entrepreneurs that can have access. So if we at SyncSpace can continue to provide access to these experts and these companies that we have in our region, we become a really hot landing spot for companies across the country. In Johnson City, as I mentioned, we're focused a lot on healthcare. We have some interesting things happening at ETSU with Ballot, with the Center for Rural Health Research. And a couple of things that we're happy to do with ETSU is that we've been able to get ETSU very engaged in what we're doing. Typically, accelerator program works best when it has a partner that's a university partner. And so I'm very happy that this bridge is being built here, because we want to make sure that ETSU and Northeast State and Milligan and all of our universities and colleges look great, but we need our partners to get the recognition that they deserve, and for them to build programs that will help be part of attracting and achieving their goals. Just yesterday, on Veterans Day, on Wednesday, we SyncSpace partnered with ETSU for the Strive program, which is a veterans entrepreneur program that will start in January. So really happy to be able to support existing efforts that our partners have, as well as they support what we are doing as well. We are also working with some local entrepreneurs in Johnson City to create a program called the Rugged Buck Labs, which is a experiential learning program for students. So think internships on steroids. What we want to do is get students that are working there, working with our entrepreneurs, and even working with our corporate partners to engage them directly in our community as part of our effort to keep the talent in our area. In Bristol, again, like I mentioned, we are working specifically around the fact that bird cuts country music is not something you can duplicate. What we are looking to do with our partners, Create Appalachia, which is a nonprofit that was started to focus on entrepreneurship in the arts and in digital media, is build systems and facilities around what Bristol is looking to do in the music and entertainment space. And one of the great programs that I'm happy about that I'm sharing it with you, it's not publicly announced yet, but this is something we're working on very closely now. It's bringing a project from Nashville into Bristol so that we can elevate what Bristol is doing at the stage of what's happening in Nashville around music and entertainment. And when I say music and entertainment, I'm not just talking about musicians, I'm talking about technologies and other things that are in these entertainment areas. Tennessee is looking to move to be the state for music and entertainment. And so us being at the table with Bristol is a very strong opportunity for the state to do even better with that mission. So in Kingsport, which is where I spend most of my time, I love downtown. I've been in downtown since 2004. There's so much opportunity in Kingsport, and so what we've been focusing on is what is it that Kingsport could be the most successful at? How do we bring more entrepreneurs to downtown? Something that the city manager and John and I are working on is helping to build this area that we're actually kind of in, creating what we're going to call the Innovation Village. And that's really focused around the investment that the city has already made in the Inventor Center, which actually Don Royston also is on the board with me on that, where we have a makerspace. If you have not been by there, you really should check it out. We were able to, because of the city's engagement with us, we were able to get some very nice, very expensive equipment that's not commonly found in makerspaces. And we have about 60 members, I think now, or 65 monthly members, but we are now moving programming in to help entrepreneurs who have the dream to build a product, to build prototypes, or learn how to use specific sets of equipment. We're able to bring that into that space. And then we also are looking to expand that area and to have a digital media lab that would accompany, because if you think about product design, you need to design it in computer 3D, move it to a prototyping facility at the Inventor Center, and then what we hope to do is establish a light manufacturing incubator that we're working also with the city on. It's a picture of the Inventor Center, just very close to here. And would be the digital media space that we're currently in the design phase of that project now. That'll be in downtown Kingsport within the next few months. And then one of the light manufacturing, one of the things I hope to see with the veterans program is that we actually have the opportunity to help fulfillment and packaging and things that go along with the product type businesses, as well as e-commerce. So the other project that we're doing, and I'll just tell a little bit, we're knock on wood, one signature away from having this project ready to go. We have the opportunity to bring a culinary incubator into the city. What a culinary incubator is in entrepreneurship is basically, let's take the burden of being in the food business or in the restaurant business off the entrepreneur, the capital burden. That's often the thing that limits or that destroys. And let's put it in a space. This has been very popular across the country over the last couple of years. And what we're looking to do here is bring this to Kingsport, because it allows us to do a few things. It allows for entrepreneurs to be started here and then expand and grow their business, and then hopefully move out of the incubator into another permanent location downtown. It's also a workforce training center that we are working with our human development agencies on. The workforce in the hospitality systems right now has been decimated from COVID for a number of reasons, but one of the things that we hope to do is bring training and programming in to help our restaurateurs and other things find trained staff. And then we also are working with the school system about how we get students involved in culinary arts and culinary entrepreneurship in this space and help them learn from our professionals. And in fact, we are recruiting a very successful program out of Chattanooga to be a partner in this with us. In fact, they're starting a program with us next week around helping our restaurants, but they are also very excited to be part of this project as well in downtown Kingsport. This is an Opportunity Zone project. We do have an Opportunity Zone fund that has come in to help sponsor it, but the city of Kingsport has also agreed to be a very key part of that, and I'm very proud to see this happen in Kingsport. So, if we talk about what this all means and what do we want to see happen, one of the things that is important for us to know is that entrepreneurship is a very broad word, and it covers a lot of people in a lot of different types of business and a lot of things that already are existing here in our area. But when you think about a very mature, connected entrepreneurial ecosystem, what you want is you want the ability for anyone at any time to be able to plug in, know where they fit, and get the help they need to be successful here. We're building that now, and I feel very strong about what's happening. In fact, John and I talked a lot about, COVID, as bad as it is a net positive if you look at it from what we have the ability to do in recruitment and with entrepreneurship. Because people are looking for partners that they can find that would be strategic for their business, but they now can do it virtually in a way that just 8 months ago was not possible, or at least not highly adopted. So we are in a position now, if we figure out how to work together and we continue to bring regional leadership together, to be an opportunity for us to go recruit the types of entrepreneurs and types of companies that we want in this region. I feel very strongly about what we've done this year, even despite COVID, but we are in a great position for 21, 22 to do extremely well and to bring a lot of more technology companies here that we currently don't have but we are ready for it. Something that we look to do, and I'd love to have engagement from you or people that you know. We want to continue to build our corporate partnerships. If there's logos you didn't see on there, I need them and I want to get them engaged. Our partnerships are not about money. We don't ask for money. What we want is we want to help existing corporate partners solve problems they already have. We just want to do it with entrepreneurs. We also are in the process of kicking off a mentorship campaign where we want people who are mentors or who are experts in certain fields, engineers, retired engineers, to be part of a mentor network and help our companies. The experience that they gain when we can connect them with an experienced engineer or a retired engineer is incredibly valuable to these companies and a real sticking point for them to stay working with us. We are growing our program across the entire upper 8 counties. That will happen within fiscal year 21, but we want to continue to expand that. My goal is that we, as in a region, within the next 10 years, become known as the center of rural entrepreneurship. I think that's a very high bar, but I think it's something that's very achievable. I think within that, the region for rural health entrepreneurship is also something that we should be focused on achieving. We also believe that entrepreneurship has to be a very key component to regional economic development and regional leadership. Alongside traditional economic development, entrepreneurship is a way of the future, has been for some time, but we are now positioned to play in that field. And then also we're looking to build a regional investment vehicle. We need venture capital here. I personally don't advocate that capital is not what brings companies and capital is not what makes success, but it is something that you want to, at the right time, you want to make sure it's available to these companies, and that's something that we're really working on. How do you help companies get access to capital in our market? So we have great partnerships and things underway for that too. That's generally an overview. I know it's a lot of information in a short amount of time, but I would love to answer any questions about entrepreneurship, what we think that is possible, or how you might want to be involved.
Have you got successes under your belt on your models and shows?
Yeah, the successes. So we focus primarily on market engagement. So how do we get customers or our companies working directly with customers? In the first quarter of this year, which wouldn't just be July through September of fiscal year 21, we were able to connect 24 companies, startup companies in our market, to customers in our market, which to me that's a pretty good achievement across the state. That's pretty well looked at. The way that we accept companies is only based on, for these higher end programs that we have, is based on our ability to connect them with something in our region. To me, success is built off of that. So for one of the companies we helped put together 6-figure